In a few moments, we will dive into one of the greatest maritime tragedies in human history, the sinking of the Titanic. This disaster was not only the loss of a ship, but also the drowning of dreams, families, and the very idea of absolute safety that defined an era. We will imagine the moment of collision from inside the vessel, examine real photographs of the iceberg that doomed the Titanic, and look at the scars it left behind. Then, through an experiment, we will uncover what those who fell into the freezing ocean truly experienced. In 1912, newspapers proudly declared, "Titanic sets sail on her maiden voyage." For people of the time, the ship was more than transportation. It was a floating palace, a symbol of power, luxury, and human achievement. The White Star Line, seeking to outshine its rivals, had chosen not to focus on speed, but on elegance and comfort. Their motto was clear: who cares about crossing faster if you can cross in style? Built with the labor of nearly 14,000 workers, the Titanic astonished everyone with its sheer size. A single anchor weighed 15 tons. Inside, the grand staircases, lavish dining halls, and decorated cabins were crafted from the most expensive materials of the age. But luxury would not be enough to escape fate. On April 10, 1912, Titanic left England, bound for New York. On board were wealthy businessmen, celebrities, families, and immigrants chasing the American dream. For days, the journey seemed calm and promising, until near midnight when a dark shape emerged from the Atlantic. "Look out," Frederick spotted the iceberg too late. Only 37 seconds later, the Titanic struck it on the starboard side. The steel hull split open as if slashed by a knife. 5 compartments were breached and began flooding rapidly. Designer Thomas Andrews inspected the damage and delivered the grim verdict. The ship could not be saved. Its fate was sealed. Captain Smith ordered, "Women and children first," and evacuation began. Yet the ship carried far too few lifeboats. While distress signals were sent into the night, the nearest ship, the Californian, failed to respond despite being only 32 kilometers away. The Titanic's last hope, the Carpathia, was 4 hours away. Titanic had just 2. As the bow sank deeper, chaos spread. By 2 a.m., the stern rose high above the water. Passengers screamed, musicians played their last notes, and families clung to each other as the Atlantic swallowed the unsinkable giant. Those who fell into the water faced certain death. Experts say in such freezing temperatures, most could not survive more than 20 to 30 minutes. At dawn, the ocean was littered with debris, overturned lifeboats, and silence. Over 1,500 lives had been lost, including Captain Smith himself. The Titanic's first voyage had become its last. The sinking of the Titanic was more than a maritime accident. It was the downfall of human arrogance. A ship declared unsinkable had sunk on its maiden voyage, reminding the world that nature will always have the final word. Even today, more than a century later, the Titanic continues to remind us of life's fragility and the haunting stories left behind in the deep.